Hola, mi amigos. Welcome back from UFC Noche. Live from the Sphere. It was a magical night, and we're here to talk about it. It's me, your boy, Kyle DiOrio, and my lovely, my beautiful, my sexy, my Power Ranger brother.
It's me, Robert Dylan Vasquez. What's up, guys?
Well, welcome back for all those that watch UFC Noche. It was a magical night. It was beautiful. The dome itself was insane. There's not much else to really say about it. Like it was amazing.
I agree. The heritage that was celebrated, the visuals, the show itself. I couldn't imagine because the TV experience was amazing.
Yeah, dude.
I couldn't imagine being there.
It'd be mind blowing.
Mind blowing. All the people that came out celebrity wise, all the Viva Mexico fans that showed up. Shout out to them. It was just there are a lot of haters. Let's address the haters first. There are a lot of haters, a la Brennan Schaub. If you guys don't know who Brennan Schaub is, longtime MMA watcher. I think his watching of the MMA career is longer than his fighting career. Former heavyweight.
Definitely.
Just really big hater. Said the Sphere didn't do anything for the TV audience, and I just don't think that's true. What was he was watching in what 1080p?
Like it was amazing to see. The visuals were so cool. The backdrop to the fights, different ones. That early one, I think one of my favorite ones was like they were in the Aztec, almost like the Aztec sacrificing ground.
Yeah,
Or
the
something.
temples and stuff.
That shit was so cool.
It was amazing.
They played some sort of film with it, which, it was really cool. I wish it started like 2 hours earlier because it made a long fight night even longer. It's the only downside. By like 1:30, I was like, can we just get on with the fucking fight?
It had to celebrate it, dude. And like you said, it's like it wasn't like continuous thing. It was like between every fight. So it was like 10, maybe 5 to 10 minutes of like a clip, but that added time and then the walkouts and then the fight itself, and it just added a lot to the product.
It was really long. It was more than just, they had the little hype videos between fights, but they would have the hype video plus like a 5-10 minute video reel for this film celebrating the culture, which was really cool. I really enjoyed it up until it was just getting to be too late, and I was like, all right, let's move on, please.
Well, along with the fights, we'll get into the fights being almost all decisions for the main card.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it was all decisions.
So that's already a long card. Then you have the hype videos before that, and then you have the heritage videos before that, which let's take a look at these ring girls.
The ring girls were insanely cool.
And they're all from Latina, Mexican descent, second generation, whatnot. What were your favorites? The Dia de los Muertos?
That was easily my favorite one.
Right.
But I liked the Aztec one. I think it might have been right before that one. The futuristic ones were a little less cool to me, but they all look great. They all look really cool. They were very well done.
Right. Yeah, I loved them. I loved
They were sick.
I love the sombreros. I love the Aztec ones. I love the Coco looking ones.
Yeah.
It was just nice. It was just nice all around. It was nice to see that they were actually Mexican women instead of like the regular women kind of.
Yeah.
I don't want to be like that, but like cultural appropriating that kind of role. Like it's like, no, we got some Mexican girls to show
If we're
up.
gonna celebrate, let's do it right.
Right.
Something like this, I think this was financially, I don't know the numbers, but it seemed like it was visually, it was a success. It was super cool. You could see people in the stands, just their mouths would.
It was wild, dude.
It was so cool. And for the most part, you got some really good fights.
Any shout outs you want to give prior to the main card?
Irene Aldana, Norma Dumont
All
went
right.
to absolute war.
I'm about to show a graphic photo
It's very graphic.
of Irene Aldana during the fight, or like post fight, like right after she got done, and then side by side when she got stitched up. This is going to be graphic. Just warning in 3,
Is it up? Okay.
2, 1. It's up. Oh God.
So this was due to a clash of heads. They bumped heads, and you could, in the slow-mo, you could actually see it like just tearing as they hit heads. So it was unfortunate, but what's crazy, obviously this massive gash is covering her face in blood. She had like 2 other nasty cuts like on her nose and under her eye as well, which you can't see until like after the fight and they're cleaning her up and you're like, what the I mean, she got her face was destroyed.
Get it off the screen. And I don't know, because they didn't stop it immediately when the cut happened.
Did they stop it at all to look?
I
almost don't even remember it happening.
So she had the cut, and it was very obvious. You could see skull or whatever. Then she gets jabbed in the head, and you kind of see it do this little wiggle.
It opens up a little bit, dude. Oh my God! That was rough.
That's a warrior. That's a fucking Mexicana warrior right there, dude. Shout out to her. God.
And it's another. There was a fighter like 2 weeks ago, or 2 pay-per-views ago rather, that I said, well, I was really surprised when I found out they were Brazilian.
Instead of
whatever that Norma Dumont is like that name. I thought she was like French or something. She's from Brazil as well.
Is she?
Brazil has some like they just must have like all kinds of names.
Well, I mean, I don't know where, like, because it's hard to find the origins of most of those names, and then it's like, are we even pronouncing it right? You know,
Yeah.
So they got some sneaky Brazilians. You know how those Brazilians are.
Hey, but
shout out to her. Shout out to all the fighters under the main card that probably showed that they shouldn't have been on the prelims.
Probably not. We had that's where your finishes were. We had a submission. We had a knockout. 2 round 1 finishes. Raul Rosas Jr. on the early prelims gets it done. We got a little. I love a chi wee wee, dude. I know. I cut out. I'm gonna have to fix that so y'all can hear my beautiful voice.
God.
But, are you ready to move into the main card?
Let's do it.
All right. So main card arrives, and we start out with 2 fighters that I believe we both said we knew not much about. And we also said that, you know, we shit on them a little bit because we don't know them because it's funny, but we also always acknowledge the fact that a lot of times these are the fights of the night.
Yeah.
And they were. The first 2 fights on the card were amazing. Lots of drama, lots of violence. First one, you had Ronaldo Rodriguez versus O'Day Osborne. Ronaldo gets dropped in round 1. Like, he's out. He's out.
Caught his leg, hook, drops, and he doesn't.
He is out.
He doesn't panic.
Somehow, yeah, he wakes up. He doesn't panic. You know, he very handily loses that round. And he comes back and he wins the fight.
Which is crazy to me.
Insane, because he was out. Like, there's no question he was out cold for a second.
Yeah.
It was an impressive fight. It seemed like one of those fights where, like, he was clearly the better fighter, but he got caught in round 1 being maybe a little overzealous, over cocky. And he was able to just tough it out and win a really tough fight.
Where I think he's newer in the UFC versus a veteran like O'Day Osborne.
He's a young guy too, yeah.
Young guy, young cat. And then he was just looking for moments, and then he just let it flow. You can't panic in that situation. You just got to get up and throw hands. And that's what he did.
That's what he did.
Came back. I wouldn't say demolished O'Day, but like made the
No.
next 2 rounds very apparent that he was like the winner.
You know, it was very clear he won the next 2 rounds. You know, I don't remember what the scorecards were, but I'm a little surprised that I was a little surprised there was not a 10-8 for round 1 for O'Day, because I mean, like, dude was basically out cold. But it wasn't, so he gets the dub. I think we both picked Ronaldo, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So when we're tied here, I mean, he showed that Mexican heart that Mexican boxers from like the 80s and 90s are known for. He showed it in that fight.
And when we say, real quick, when we say both we have one, we're talking for our new viewers, if we have any, it's bragging rights. Kyle and I, we pick the fights, whether we pick the same or whether we pick different. The outcome of the fights is always, they're usually about 5 fights on the main card. We just pick from the main card unless it's a special situation. And may the best man win and get bragging rights. So we're 1-1.
Anyway. But yeah, it was a crazy fight.
Good fight. Good
Ronaldo,
fight. Good. Whether it was crazy, it was a good one.
It was a good fight. Anything else you want to say about old Ronaldo there?
What division is that? 45?
Flyweight.
Oh, 125?
Yeah, flyweight.
Small boys. Sky's the limit for them.
Yeah.
Sky's the limit. I don't know who's in that weight class from 15 to 5, but he could fight top 10 next time around. O'Day's no joke.
Good.
O'Day's no joke. Shout out to O'Day Osborne. He's been doing the damn thing. Wish him all the best on a bounce back, but I'm done with that one.
All right, let's move on to fight of the night. A lot of people call him fight of the year for the amount of violence that went down in this one. Daniel Zellhuber versus Esteban Ribovic. Man, these dudes just fucking laid it all out there for 3 rounds.
Zellhuber was just hurt, dude. You could wobbly legs, bounce. But then Ribovic, he couldn't finish. Like, he was throwing the kitchen sink at this kid, and he just wasn't going. He wasn't going to the body enough, I feel, in his closing, like where he was supposed to finish him.
Yeah,
just head hunted, and it's like, okay, well, go to the body. Hands sank down.
Was this the fight where DC was like, even this is just swinging? He's not really
hurting him.
He's just swinging everything at him. He's got to slow it down and find the right spots. I mean,
yeah,
he's still got the dub, but it's something you can learn from clearly, because he did almost gas himself out in that exchange.
Trying to finish your opponent and then just not. It's got to be such an adrenaline dump. I don't know personally, but you're like he was throwing hooks, and Zellhuber was just like, you could tell he was like almost rolling his ankle, like trying to get away and running away, and
very wobbled. And like Ribovic did land even in that flurry of just nonsense. Like, he was landing a couple of hooks here and there, and it was just not enough. Zellhuber was able to keep his just enough width to stay up, and it really was crazy to watch. Another display of that Mexican heart, you could say, not going down to all this stuff. But
yeah,
Esteban Ribovic does take it in the fight of the night. He gets the dub.
Was he Argentinian?
He is an Argentinian finisher, as they said.
Well,
that would mean your boy's up 1 point now.
So I got 1. Kyle's got 2. I mean, anything you want to say about these guys? Besides the heart,
I mean, it was just a phenomenal fight. If you haven't seen it, go watch it.
It was really good.
It was a good fight. It was the 2 openers were fantastic entertainment.
Deserving of being on the main card. Like, okay.
Deserving.
If I bought this pay-per-view, if anybody bought the pay-per-view, you're like, okay, cool. This is what I signed up for. The Sphere.
This is fun.
With the whole visuals and like, oh, wow, this is what I came to see.
Yep.
Are you done?
I'm good on this fight.
Swipe. This next fight, bro. This is the fight where I feel like we differentiated again.
We did.
Shouldn't have. I should have We like Diego Lopez.
Diego is
collectively we like him.
He's the CCMMA fighter. Like, we've talked about him throughout his whole UFC career, which is kind of cool that we have a fighter that we've like. If you go back and watch all of the episodes where he was discussed, a very clear line of his story.
Yeah,
and it's pretty neat because we didn't know who the fuck he was at first. He fought Evloev on short notice.
Mm-hmm.
Was it Evloev?
Mm-hmm.
Almost wins.
Just came up short.
A no name on short notice, and he's just risen the ranks steadily since then.
God, he's undeniable now.
He really is.
Because spoiler alert,
he gets the dub.
And whoops Brian Ortega.
A dominant fight. Like he puts Ortega down in round 1.
He hits him with a right hook, clips Ortega. Yeah. Ortega's going down, and then he hits him square in the nose,
right. Which almost I think wakes
him up.
Wakes him up. So like, I mean, but Ortega, you could see the calm veteran that he was, because he was able to slowly kind of regain that composure and look good in spurts of the fight. But Diego, man, he looked really good. And there was one thing I noticed a lot during the fight. And did you notice he'd reach at his throat like every few minutes?
Apparently it's a tick.
Okay.
I was saying the same thing during the fight.
Did he hurt his throat?
I was like, what's he doing? It's apparently since he was young, he got caught on, I think, some barbed wire or something.
Okay.
So it's a tick he has where he'll stand there and
I don't know if I just never noticed it before, or it's not been as prominent.
It's been in previous fights. It's been in previous fights. It just hasn't been as prominent.
It was every few seconds he was like reaching. I thought maybe someone hurt his throat somehow.
Same.
But I mean, he looked great. He looked fantastic. He dominated Ortega, which is not an easy. There's 2 men that have beaten Ortega.
That are like Max.
3 now.
Max roughed Ortega up. Max Holloway, who was like mid fight, like, hey, put your hands up. This is how you guard, and he's roughing him up. Ortega's all black and blue. Ortega going against Volkanovski. He had Volkanovski in a deep mounted guillotine.
The grossest guillotine.
And he just kept wiggling and fighting out Volkanovski. He got dropped into the guillotine, but came back, beat Brian pretty sound.
Brian couldn't get up to his chair in like rounds 4 and 5 of that fight. That being said, suits a dog. Like, those are 2 of the greatest fighters in featherweight history. And, I mean, Diego Lopez almost knocked him out, which is something that neither of them were able to do.
Right.
What do you see next for Diego? Do you think he's in line for a title shot after? Do you think he needs one more fight? I kind of think I'd like to see one more fight personally, but I could see them throwing him in there.
So I would love that. After the fight, he's celebrating, looks over the cage, jumps the cage, whatever he does, has a conversation with Dana White in that moment. And Dana is just like, you're number 3. You beat Brian, who's held number 3, whether he's been inactive or not. He's held number 3 for years now.
Yeah, he was the number 3 guy.
So, and I'm not saying that doesn't take away from the guys in 145 not doing anything, but
just shows that, I mean, Brian was just that guy.
He was that placeholder, and now that do they switch? Does Diego Lopez at number 11? I think he was at the time, or 14. Does Brian go down? No, he doesn't go down that far. But Diego sure as fuck jumps up to number 3, top 5.
It sounded to me like Brian's done with featherweight after this fight.
Yeah,
I think his move to lightweight is that's the move. Like,
it's the move that he wants, but 155's a motherfucker, dude. So,
It is, but you know how sometimes people move these weight classes, and for whatever reason, they get either more comfortable with that weight or less comfortable even.
sure.
So we'll have to wait and see what he does at 155. We know we got a new star at 145 though, in Lopez. I
I would like to see one more. I would.
I would too.
Well, can you pull up the rankings, please?
Yeah, let's take a look at the old featherweight rankings. I mean, we've got. I know Volk signed up for the fight with Justin Gaethje.
Mm. Is that official?
I thought it was.
I think it is.
I believe it is. All right, so you got your champ, Ilya Tapuria. We got number 1, Alexander Volkanovski. We got number 2, Max Holloway. Yeah. We have number 3, Diego Lopez. Number 4, Yair Rodriguez. And number 5, Brian Ortega.
Still top 5 at 145.
Yeah, he's past Evloev.
And he beat Yair.
Yeah.
So it's like, is he really behind Yair if he beat him? But that's neither here nor there. You lost your ranking. It's inevitable you're going to go down. Yeah, I wouldn't give Diego Yair. And I don't know if I would give him the winner of Max Ilya.
It feels a little premature.
But what are you going to do?
Barely.
You going to give him Volk?
Would you run back Evloev?
No.
No?
No.
Would you run him with a new contender at featherweight, but has a lot of star power in Aljamain Sterling?
No. You say a lot of star power. I don't disagree with you.
Name value.
No. Because it was supposed to be Evloev Aljo, and that fight's off. Aljo got injured during sparring.
Okay.
So Evloev actually tweeted Diego Lopez and was like, "What's up, motherfucker? You want to run it back?" That's not his accent, but like,
"What's up, motherfucker?"
"What's up, motherfucker?" No, and then Diego was like, "No, you had your chance to rematch me and you turned it down. So I'm not gonna fight you on short notice."
Now that I've passed you want the rematch.
Right. And Evloev's I'm not saying he's a snooze fest, but these guys, and I'll talk about this a lot,
And yes, very soon.
Later on in the show. These guys think that they are world beaters, which some of them are, and they think that translates to, oh my God, I'm going to get 10 million followers on Instagram, and I'm going to be the next Connor, or I'm going to... Nobody knows who you are.
No.
You have to put on performances. And Diego, as slow or as fast as his rise throughout the rankings have been, that dude puts on a show.
You know who he reminds me of? And I think it's a little more, he's a little bit cleaner, a little more calculated, but he reminds me a lot of DDP. The way he rose the rankings just super violently, kind of consistently being an underdog in a lot of his fights.
Right.
But just being so violent, just knockout or just fucking laying it on the person. Diego seems to me like, I don't think he's as sloppy looking, because DDP at sometimes could be absolutely sloppy looking, which it amazes me he's gotten as far as he has, but
sure.
It is what it is. They're similar in style to me, just because they're they're like berserkers.
Slowly but surely, they have gotten to where they are. I see championship material in Diego Lopez. People were like, oh, well, it's the second, third round. He's slowing down against Ortega. I would like to see Diego in the fourth and fifth rounds.
Yeah.
I don't know what that Diego looks like, but he was just throwing so much into his shots. And regardless of if he gasses out, that first round was at 10-8, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So it's like he did enough in the first round where it's like, okay, if he wants to step off the gas in the second round, come back and just cruise through the third, he's deserved that, And Brian starting to establish the jabs. He started to look good, but it's like
it just was a little too late.
Too little, too late. So I see I see that path for Diego Lopez. How does he get there? Don't know. Who's he fighting? The most formidable 145ers almost of all time.
We'll have to see. I feel like he's a guy we'll see an announcement sooner rather than later as to what his next fight will be.
And I disagree with you only because you got Ilya and Max coming up, and then Volkanovski.
They'll just wait for those two to be cleaned out?
If not that, then Volkanovski, fair. Justin Gaethje. I think Volkanovski has unfinished business at 145. I don't think he's tall enough for 155, but he's gotten to a point where he just had one of the most badass 145 title reigns almost of all time, if not all time. Give him fun fights. Give him what he deserves.
Yeah,
give him paychecks.
Give him the money fights. If he wants to go for the title, I'm sure he definitely deserves it. If he wants to just fight big names and, Michael Chandler the last few years of his career, it's not a bad move. Well, Dustin and Justin, they're kind of the same. I feel like they're just like, give me the big names, give me the paychecks. Let's just put on legendary fights.
Right.
Which is a perfectly fine way to go.
Justified.
At the end of your career. Got anything else to say about this particular fight?
This particular fight, no.
Are you ready for our co-main event?
Yes, but I want to give a special message to our friends and our fans and our viewers. If you want, and I never say this, if you want to go ahead and turn the podcast off, you're more than welcome. If you want to tuck yourself into bed for a nice little nappy nap for the next 25, 30 minutes or so, I'm here for you. Kyle's here for you. On to the co-main event.
All right, let's set the scene. We're going to the co-main event. It's probably already 12:30, getting late. We're running a 10-minute film and hype package for the co-main event.
Right.
Valentina versus Alexa Grasso.
Mm-hmm. Mexico's own Alexa Grasso.
Mexico's own.
First Mexican champion. Not women or man. First Mexican champion.
That is so mind-blowing to me. But anyway, the fighters come out. We're ready for the co-main event. So we had a kind of a shock finish in the first fight. We had a draw in the second fight. And now we got Valentina Shevchenko at her most grinding, dominating best. God. But not the most entertaining.
I mean, what do you say? What do you say when you get choked out in the first fight? You show the whole world you're like, nah, I beat her. It was Mexican Independence Day. It's like, okay, you want to blame your loss the draw. You want to blame the draw on it was Mexican Independence Day. That's why she won. All right, well, joke's on you. We're gonna run it back for the third time on Mexican Independence Day. UFC Noche. We're running it back. So she knew, like, fuck, dude.
I have to be at my best.
Right. I have to show up, show out. I either have to finish her or no mistakes domination. You're right. What did she do, Kyle? What'd she do?
She wrestle fucked the absolute hell out of Alexa Grasso. She took her down at will. She held her down. Alexa Grasso early on, there was a little bit of light with some of her off the back attempts at some submissions. Like, some looked okay. Like, okay, maybe she's got something in her.
Mm-hmm.
But the longer the fight went on, you could see the confidence, any resemblance of fight in Alexa Grasso just disappeared.
Strained. She
couldn't figure out Shevchenko. She had nothing for her going further into the fight. And Valentina just, she dog walked Alexa Grasso for 5 rounds. And it was boring, but like, I can't can never fault a fighter for putting on a boring fight in a championship fight because it is a championship fight.
Yeah.
You're there to win. You're going to do your best to win. So it was what it was.
And these fair weather fans that are going to call you boring, or they might, oh, that was lackluster. They're so quick to forget. And then the hardcore fans are like, what are you talking about? She dominated her. Like, that was exactly what she was supposed to do. So
That was it.
you look on her win-loss record, that was a win on Saturday.
That's a dub.
So,
And a long line of dubs outside of the one loss. I mean, Valentina is she really is next level.
she's the bullet, dude.
She'll dominate you on the hands. She'll dominate you on the feet. She'll dominate you on the ground.
She's kind of like a John Jones, where Alexa Grasso, she's not like a striker per se, and she's got great ground game. Rolls with Diego Lopez. Shout out to Diego Lopez. Beats Brian Ortega. Goes back to the locker room. Puts on his team gear, and he's right there cornering Alexa Grasso.
Ready to coach.
Yep.
Ready to coach.
Yep.
But like, there really isn't a lot we can say. I mean,
It was-
she did what
It was
she
decisive.
does.
Yep, it was decisive.
She dominated.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is next for Valentina? Because Alexa is not getting a man in Fior. I would assume is the next one in line.
Sure.
It's a flyweight's kind of a
How about let's make it fun. That fight, there was no fun in that fight. The only reason my butthole was clenched and I was on the edge of my seat is because I had Grasso.
We both picked Grasso for that fight.
So, that being said, give her the winner of Raquel versus Pena. Champ.
Let her go for champ status on her way.
Champ.
End of her career. I wouldn't be opposed to it.
That's what's gonna do that, which sucks because if she retires champ, then that's two divisions that are just like, what the heck?
Yeah, it's risky, but it's a good play.
Amanda did it.
Amanda did it. Valentina, I think I've watched their second fight once. Well, I know I've heard people say that they argued Valentina should have won the fight. So, you have the second in GOAT status for the women.
What else do you do?
I don't know.
She's never been champ though.
She's never been champ. This could be her chance.
And I think she fucks up Raquel Pennington. And I think she Jessica eyes the shit out of Juliana Pena.
And if she goes that route, let's say she gets the title, you do have one final big money fight you can make at bantamweight. Valentina versus Kayla Harrison.
God.
It's there's a lot of name value there.
You talking about Ronda Rousey?
Ronda Rousey, dude. Man, fuck Ronda Rousey. But yeah, I mean, Valentina's got
We love you, Ronda. You're always welcome on CCMMA.
Nah.
All right. I guess you're not.
I'm revoking that one. That's the only one I'll revoke.
Sure.
Like, there's nothing to say about Alexa Grasso here, sadly. She survived.
She'll bounce back. I think the first fight was like plus 850 underdog. She was not supposed to be here.
No.
Co-maining the Sphere, dude.
It's insane. It's
Mexico
the fact
lost.
that she got a draw in 2 was crazy.
As much as the heritage was shared, I don't mean to interrupt you. As much as the heritage was shared, it was not a good night for my people.
No, it really wasn't. Not on the main. I don't know about the undercard, but definitely not on the main card.
I think, but by the time the main card happened, I think all 7 fighters. Can you please pull that up? I think all 7 Mexican fighters pre-main card lost.
Oh my God! Irene Aldana lost. Manuel Torres lost. Yasmin Yoreguay lost. Edgar Cherez lost. The only Main card Mexican winner was Raul Rosas Jr. and nobody saw it because that's on the early prelim.
Right.
On the main card, the only Mexican to win was Ronaldo Rodriguez.
Sure.
That's wild.
Mexico, they showed up. They didn't show out.
They showed up. They were there. They participated.
They did. They got second place in a 2-person fight. So, it's whatever.
Are you ready to go on to the main event?
The exact same fight?
The exact same, more disappointing fight.
Sugar! Sean O'Malley versus Merab Dvalishvili, which couldn't have been closer to what it was. It was such a deja vu experience for me. We love Sean O'Malley, first of all. For him to go out there, fucking Lupe Fiasco, it hits. It's like, this is what we've been waiting on all night. Card starts at 10. It's like 1:30.
1 a.m., 1:30. We just watched another 25-minute hype package, ready to go to bed already. I was like, Sean,
I gotta, dude, hang on.
Normally, I'm not rushing these cards to be over, but I was like, please, let's just get a knockout and then we go home.
Hang on, dude, hang on.
It was, oh boy.
He goes, so Kyle messages me at 12:08 bragging rights. That's right after the Ortega Diego Lopez.
Right, so that's right after that fight's over. So 12:08, we have 2 fights to go.
So I text him at 1, lay and pray for sure, talking about, I say, way to put on a snooze fest before the main event, ladies.
At 1 o'clock, so there had been an hour pretty much in between the end of Diego and the end of the very next fight. 1 hour.
2:13 a.m. I go, what a bust, except for the visuals. I was like, God damn it, Sugar.
So,
dude,
the co-main and the main took an hour,
bro.
Between after like the post-fight previous and to the end of the. I like the visuals.
It was the longest card of all time.
It needed to. It had. There's no way anything topped it. Everything went to decision. We had the longest packages.
I was disappointed. And even Dana White himself goes, yeah, I hope the fans had a great time. And then I hope they turned it off right before the co-main. He said that, dude.
I can't blame him. They weren't entertaining fights. But again, I can't discredit Merab for going in there and taking that title away from him. Because at the end of the day, UFC's an entertainment. You know, that's what we're hoping for. But when it comes to the title, when it comes to being considered the best in the world, you got to just do what you got to do.
Oh, God. Do you, though?
Yeah.
You do. And then everybody has their path. Everybody's like, well, Sean wasn't supposed to be champion. Lands a beautiful right. I'm not going to say lucky. Lands a beautiful step back right. Connor Aldo-esque. Lands it on Aljo. Becomes the champion of the fucking world. He wasn't supposed to be there. Defends it against Cheeto. At least has one title defense.
Dominant defense, too.
Dominant defense. Striker's masterpiece, right? Masterclass. Goes up against one of the worst possible matchups for him outside of Umar Nurmagomedov, who's on the come up. We'll talk about him in a second. Man, this was not a nightmare matchup for him. But he was like, nah, I was saying, nah, he's too tall. Merab can do that stuff that he was doing to Henry because he can get in on Henry. Henry doesn't have that length to keep him at bay. Sean does. And it just...
We saw nothing.
Some attacks, the same with, like I said, Alexa Grasso was like, I'm going to put her in a triangle. Valentina just leaned back. Sean was like, all right, come in here. Merab almost got caught with a triangle a couple times. Leaned back, stacked him up, landed some, ground and pound. It was the same, dude. It was the same.
It's identical fights. And you could see it just like you saw it in Alexa's face. Sean, round 3, round 4.
Breathing
the confidence
heavy.
is gone.
Yeah,
he's tired. He doesn't want to be there.
Shout out to his coach, Tim Welsh, was just like, we're almost done. We're almost done with this.
He's just like, hey, man, get 5 more minutes and we're out of here. Like, he knew it was over.
Right.
Sadly, the only time Sean puts together any significant offense is in round 5.
Last, minute and a half? Kicks?
Those up kicks. Clearly hurting Merab. He was hurt.
Now, for the people that are like, well, why didn't he just do that earlier? You never, ever, ever give your leg to a wrestler. You don't do that. It has to be like a whip. It has to be in and out. Because if you're kicking a wrestler, you're basically saying,
gonna grab it.
Here's a single. Here's a single for you.
Take me down.
Yeah, so those teeps, I believe they surprised Merab. I believe they didn't practice for that, but just the foot placement right here, just that right under the toe to the gut, dude. You could see where Merab was like wincing. Hit him not once, not twice, but I think 3 times.
But just, again, what did I say earlier? Too little, too late.
Too little, too late, dude.
I know, like, you don't want to give up your leg, but, like, come around 3 and 4.
You got to go.
You got to just do that. You just got to do something. And Sean didn't do much in those rounds.
Merab didn't do much.
Other than, take him down, hold him.
So I don't want to be like that, and I will always love Sean, and I will love his fighting style. There was another person in there. There was another person outside of Merab and Sean.
Herb Dean.
And that's my boy Herb Dean. Now, he's my boy. I've gotten cameos from Herb Dean. He's the gold standard when it comes to reffing. He was way too involved in that fight. Merab started losing his head less than 30 seconds into the fight, talking to Tim Welsh, because apparently Tim said something along the lines of,
that was such a weird interaction.
Calm down.
Merab just
started blowing up, crashing out, essentially.
He completely took his eye off Sean and was like, basically, it's almost like time out. It was very odd.
Apparently, Sean's coach, Tim Welsh, was just like, Merab, you got to calm down, because he was like, he was doing all this stuff, which makes it a hard target for Sean. Whether you like it or not, he's being all frantic and stuff. You're not landing
twitchiness,
Right. So he's like, hey, coach your fighter. Herb goes over, he's like, coach your fighter. There is a rule called excessive coaching, which I had no idea about.
I never heard of that.
So apparently he was just like, hey, you coach Sean. That's all you need to do is talk to your fighter.
Honestly, I don't think there doesn't seem to be a rule against calling out another fighter in that way, but there probably should be.
Apparently Herb was just like, no, this is what it is. Stop talking to Merab. So it's like, all right, cool.
I don't disagree with that call.
The call of Merab's, he's passing guard. He's laying on him. He's elbowing him. He's punching him. He's like, you need to work. You need to work. And Merab's just like, he's like, these knees that he would just bring back and drive into Sean's thigh. It's essentially like a foot stomp that Usman would do.
Yeah.
Where you just stomp on his foot. I'm like, I don't like that at all. It's part of the game. It's part of the game, but I could feel that Charlie horse while I'm watching the fight, right?
Yeah.
It gets to a point where it's like, oh, you need to work. And it's like, brother, I'm working. Stop, leave me alone, Herb.
Yeah, Herb was a little too involved with all that. Round 5, I think everybody realized he maybe just decides to coast through round 5 because he doesn't have to do anything.
What was the round where he has, now I don't want to say Sean's back, but he's got Sean up against the cage. Sean's facing the cage. He's got his arms around him. Or no, it's a guillotine situation where he's got Sean's back right in front of him. He goes, starts kissing him.
Dude,
gets up prematurely. No bell.
There's like 10 seconds left.
No bell or nothing. He gets up. He starts walking off. Sean's like, bitch. And like,
could you imagine if he knocked him out in that moment?
I wish he would have. Because that's... I didn't say what I wanted to say because I'm trying to remain filtered so we don't get canceled. That was a waste. That was a waste. Don't kiss your opponent. What you're trying to show out, you're trying to be this showman. Oh, he embarrassed Sean O'Malley. He beat up Sean for 5 rounds. Finish him. If you have him, like, who's that guy that CM Punk fought? Mike Jackson?
Oh yeah, the second fight. That sounds right.
He could have beat CM Punk.
He toyed with CM Punk for 3 rounds.
Don't do that. Finish him.
Yeah.
If you're who you say you are, finish him. But
Finish
no,
the fight.
And they didn't even have a personal vendetta. He could have just finished him and been like, "This is what fighting is." No,
I'm the champ.
I'm this. Don't toy with your food, because if you go back and look at the result, it took you 3 rounds to beat CM Punk. No shot on CM Punk. I love Phil.
He's just an old man with no training.
With 0 to little, whatever you want to say. Oh, who he's trained with this, he's done this. He would beat, what's he called? Monkey Bars. What's his name?
Monkey Bars?
A guy from AEW.
Oh.
Johnny
Jack
Banana.
Perry?
Yeah.
Jack Perry?
Jack Perry.
Jungle Boy?
Monkey Bars, Banana Jones, whatever his name is. A guy like that with literally 0 training, I believe CM Punk would kill that kid. And I don't want to get into wrestling.
So
I don't want to get into wrestling talk. But
started.
There was an altercation backstage at a wrestling event where it's like, okay, this guy, Perry, is a professional wrestler. CM Punk has some training.
Yeah, clearly.
If you have a couple classes to a person with no classes, you're demolishing them. You're killing them.
Yeah.
That being said, Mike Jackson, who wanted to do that for a living, who was sleeping and breathing fighting, don't toy with somebody who has not even half of the training that you have. Finish him. Finish him. So that being said,
Mickey Gall did.
Yeah, just like Mickey Gall did. He went out there and he did his job. Showed him, I'm the fighter. He's the entertainer. All eyes were on him. Now all eyes are on me. Same thing. Merab, you could have finished Sean O'Malley. And it's like, oh, well, he was harder than I thought. Don't kiss him then. If you can kiss him, you can hit him. If you can kiss him, you can strap up a get. It's like, oh, I went out and embarrassed him. A finish would have been embarrassing for Sean. A lot more than I'm about to argue for Sean. He won round 5.
Yes.
Round 3 off his back with attacks and submissions and up kicks. Merab didn't do much round 3.
He got that round in some people's scorecard.
So 3 and 5. And then arguably got back up to his feet after the takedown, stuck Merab a couple times, and won round 1. Now, a lot of people are like, nah, it was 50-45. You go back and watch that fight in a biased mood for Sean O'Malley.
In a biased mood.
1, 3, and 5 go to Sean. He's still the champ. And even Sean tweeted it, and he's like, still champ, undefeated, fuck Merab.
So stupid.
It's so stupid. But he was just clowning his Snap stories. I don't have Snapchat, but I saw where it translated to Twitter. He's like, oh, well, this sucks. Sorry, guys. Overpromised, underdelivered. Chael thought he did an awesome job. I did as well. People were like, oh, we haven't seen a beating this bad since Habib and Conor. Pause. I need you to go back and watch Habib and Conor.
It's a lot closer than you remember.
God, dude.
One of Khabib's closest fights up until the finish.
It was. What all that to say, I still believe in Sean O'Malley. I believe in O'Malley. Anyways,
he can easily get back. Title fight.
What's next? What's next for him is a year out. He's gonna have hip surgery, I think. He's got something torn in his hip or something like that, a ligament of some kind. And then you have what's next for Merab. It's already been said is Umar Nurmagomedov. How do you see that fight going?
Sometimes the wrestling, if you see a wrestler just wrestle fuck somebody who can't wrestle, it sucks.
Yeah.
But sometimes when you get 2 high-level wrestlers, that's when the wrestling gets really entertaining.
Mm-hmm. The scrambles,
When you see 2 guys who know what they're doing, know how to defend it, know how to do it, That's when it gets good. I'm not gonna make a pick yet.
Mm. Well,
Uh,
yeah.
We'll save we'll save that. But I am excited. I like to stay excited for any fight I can. You know, it could be a snooze fest. You always run that risk with wrestlers in the UFC, sadly, but it could also be like a really high level game of wrestle chess
Or kickboxing,
or kick. I could have no wrestling at all.
as you
A
saw
lot
in
of
the
times that's what
Usman
happens.
Covington fights, where they're two decorated wrestlers, and they're like, okay, well, I'm not wasting my energy trying to wrestle you. I'm just gonna
No,
beat you up.
we're just gonna fight.
So I hope that
We'll
that's the
see.
outcome. I want to see the striking on both of these guys because Merab couldn't hit the broadside of a barn with his striking.
I knock people out.
Who have you knocked out? What was
Not
it?
Sugar.
Revion Stotts or some shit pre UFC with
It-
with a lucky spinning back fist. Stop it.
Put that as a co-main event,
Yeah.
please. Though,
Yeah,
like,
dude.
no offense, just put that as the co.
All offense. Fuck Merab.
See,
God.
Merab is like the corniest dude alive. I have no actual ill will against him, but he's just so hated. It's funny.
It's like, I'm one of those haters. It's just like, dude, I wish he
know.
would have just got stuck like a pinata. No Mexican pun intended. But, dude.
Dude, he showed he did what he had to do.
Anything else you want to talk about? This fucking killed my mood.
Hey, we love Noche. We love the spear. Let's do it again. Let's do that once a year. Start it at 8 o'clock Eastern.
Sure. If you're
Once
going
a-
to do it like that.
If you're gonna have a film running coexistent with the fight card, just start it earlier. Hell, let's just start the fight cards early in general.
Well, see, we
Not-
have it good, but we could have had it better. Because if you're on the West Coast, your main card's starting at 7.
That's amazing.
You go all the way till what, 10? You're 3 hours in, maybe 4. Your night, your party, like, let's go party after the fights.
I can go. Yeah, let's go get some drinks.
If
It's
you-
11.
if
The
it's
fight just ended.
If it's 2, it's like, bro, I'm trying to go home. Or
I'm under the covers, bro.
we're already home. We're
Like, let me get it a little bit better. Let's start it at. If you started at 9 p.m. Eastern,
no,
at-
man.
that's still better than fucking 2 a.m. ending. At least if you're gonna do some shit like that.
When they have these England cards and they actually do it in England time, or these Abu Dhabi cards and they're actually doing it Abu Dhabi time, where
Yeah.
it would be 10 p.m. there, but it's like 3 p.m. for us. I love that.
Do it.
I love watching the fights and then being like either yay or nay, and then it's like, okay, well, what do you want to do tonight?
Can you imagine being in England, finding out you're getting a UFC pay-per-view, and finding out it starts at like 2, 3 a.m.?
Starts?
That's awful.
Yeah, no thanks. No thank you.
Terrible.
I love Patty. I love Aspinall. I love Leon Edwards. Actually, I don't know if I love Leon, but I love those guys. I love the English fighters. I love the UK fans. I'm so glad that they put it on regular time because our fans, our Fairweather USA fans,
They won't watch.
no, not at all. But
But man, that fight card sucked. The last, the one- last, they
304.
put that shit on at 1 p.m. That's where it belonged.
Anyways, I think I'm done.
It-
I think I'm wrapped
that's
up.
it.
I think I'm wrapped up on UFC Noche, UFC 306.
Noche is behind us. We're coming up upon 307. Bad blood.
Bad blood.
It's gonna be a big night for TKO.
I'd say. What who we got? Who's the main?
Who is the main at 307?
Because
take a gander.
307's not the Abu Dhabi one. It's the one right before that. I think it's Elia Max.
It's Alex Pereira versus Khalil Roundtree.
So Pereira's getting knocked out.
Roundtree's going to sleep. But like, I really like Roundtree a lot. So he's got the most violent looking style I've ever seen in my life.
100%.
That is the guy.
He's
That's
just.
the. Oh man.
He's going up against a guy that you don't want to have that style match with. A two-division kickboxing champion just lollygags his way into the UFC, double champ in the UFC in 2 different divisions, not at the same time. Could be. Could be
coming up.
You're telling me Khalil's going to go Muay Thai, went to Thailand, it's going to use that Muay Thai stance, the hands up, light front leg.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
You're gonna get
it'd be fun to watch.
Starch.
For the last.
You're gonna get starch. I'm making my pick now, Alex Pereira.
Alex Pereira.
We'll dive deep into that more in the UFC
307
show. God, dude, I'm excited for that one. Alex has been one of the most active champions of all time.
He doesn't stop. He's a guy that, like, I don't like the guys going for 2 belts really quickly. He's like one. He definitely is in the status of deserving to go for a second title.
Right.
He defends enough. Let him go for it, man.
After John beats Stipe, John's retiring. That's already. He's like, yeah, this is my last.
It's pretty
fight.
much done.
He said it. He's like, yeah, it's probably my last go round. Give him Tom, dude. Give him Tom.
Dude, let's get Tom and Alex.
Because
heavyweight title.
Alex Volkov.
Alex cut down to middleweight.
Triple champ?
Triple champ.
He sleeps DDP.
He could be the first triple champ if he really wanted to do it.
If he wanted to. That being said, I think Volkov isn't fighting Cyril Gane. So I think because Volkov's out with an injury. So it's like, okay, well, are you going to fight Cyril Gane, who has no wrestling, and you're going to dominate him, Tom? Whatever. Alex, if he goes up to heavyweight, he beats anybody. Dude, Alex Pereira versus the world. I'm in his corner.
Hands of stone, bro. Hands
Poatan.
Of stone.
Dude, I'm ready.
The default celebrations in the new college football game.
That's like a celebration that you would use on like a SmackDown versus Raw. Like, anyways.
Dude, why was he not at Noche?
Well, he could have been.
He could have been. He should have been.
Give him a Mexican fighter. Give Alex Pereira Yair Rodriguez.
I mean, he comes out to the Aztec, or I don't know what. Maybe
that's not
be a different one.
Yeah, let's not get into the It's
Mayan, maybe.
No,
I don't know what it is.
Mayan is Mexican. Aztec is Mexican descent, all that jazz. Mayan calendar. I don't know the difference, and I won't talk like I know the difference. UFC Noche, bomb or bust?
While the fuse did come up short in the end, it was a bomb prior to the last 2 fights.
God, dude.
It really was. I really enjoyed everything up to that.
John Anik wants to run it back. A lot of people want to run it back. I'm asking you, do they run it back? And then how many more times?
You mean at the Sphere?
At the Sphere. Not necessarily Noche.
Noche.
Not necessarily Noche. How many times do they run the Sphere back? Not should they, do they?
I think they will. And if you're do it like every International Fight Week.
That would be dope.
Make that the big deal of the year. Like it already is like kind of their biggest card of the year most of the time.
I'd say when the fighters comply.
Yeah. Make International Fight Week feel a little special. Do it at the Dome. Do a different theme or whatever you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much stuff you could do there, and it was cool. But I definitely don't want it every month.
No. If you do International Fight Week, that little package that they had with the films and stuff, you could do it for all kinds of different cultures. You could have a mixture of all kinds of different ring girls.
You can do whatever you wanted.
You don't have to be centered around Noche. You don't have to be centered around any specific heritage. I feel like International Fight Week would bring the butts to the seats, But you cannot. There are a lot of lessons that they learned. Like, they didn't have the visuals of the sphere before the main card. It was like just the red backdrop and the industrial.
They had something, but it was plain. But even that, I was like, that looks pretty sick.
It looked
and
really
then
sick.
Then they really started it up.
The tickets, you cannot set the tickets, and then when nobody buys, you can't lower the tickets. You either sell it out or you don't, as is. You can't just be like, oh, well, it didn't sell out, so I guess fuck it.
We'll
let's price drop the tickets. They learned a lot of lessons, and I'm excited to see what they do next with the Sphere.
I want to see it. I want to see it happen again. I'd love to see a concert there. That, as much as the fights were cool there, a concert the place is clearly made for concerts, because like, at least at a concert you could take your eyes off the band. Like, you're not trying to take your eyes off the fight.
You know what I want to see? You know what I want to experience just one time at the Sphere?
What?
The screen goes black. It opens up. Me and you, we're chilling. We're at like the perfect seatage. In the middle, see the whole screen, nothing cutting it off. Screen lights up with like technicolors and like a 3D kind of illusion, and all of a sudden you hear Whoppa Gangnam Style. Smoke, dude. Dude,
that shit would go hard,
dude.
But the fucking, speaking of 3D images, like when they brought up the fighters in like as like a star,
50
like
foot tall, dude.
They were like constellations in the sky. That shit was sick.
It was so sick, but it's like that costs so much money.
Oh yeah.
And that's why I don't think they're gonna do it. Hot take, I don't think they go back to the Sphere. I hope I'm wrong, but I'll take those bragging rights.
I mean, I really could see it. It's an expensive place, and it doesn't seem extremely feasible. So, we'll see.
We will see. And we will see you back for UFC 307 with your boy, Robert Dylan Vasquez, and as always, my lovely host,
Kyle Diorio. We love you. We're out.